Scribes translated Hebrew into Aramaic and sometimes Greek. And scribes not only translated, but they also interpreted meaning. Scribes had tremendous power in the religious hierarchy. Scribes were a force to be reckoned with, and they were an effective tool of the wealthy Jewish aristocracy against the common poor Judean. In the hands of the religious leaders and the rich, the scribe's job was to come up with ways of getting around the intent of the law, the Torah, by studying and exploiting the letter of the law by finding loopholes. Here's an example taken from the Gospel of Mark, chapter 7. Then Jesus said to them, "You have a fine way of rejecting the commandment of God in order to keep your tradition. For Moses said, 'Honor your father and your mother,' and whoever speaks evil of father and mother must surely die. But you say that if anyone tells father or mother, 'Whatever support you might have had from me is korban,' that is, an offering to God, then you no longer permit doing anything for a father or mother, thus making void the word of God through your tradition that you have handed on. And you do many things like this." What do you have when a scribe is buried up to his neck in sand? Not enough sand. Why won't sharks attack scribes? Professional courtesy. Last week, Jesus told the disciples, "Truly I tell you, until heaven and earth pass away, not one letter, not one stroke of a letter will pass from the law until all is accomplished." Today, Jesus ups the ante and tells his disciples how much more than what the law requires is expected of them as leaders. "You have heard that it was said to those of ancient times, by Moses and the law, 'You shall not murder, and whoever murders shall be liable to judgment.' But I say to you that if you are angry with a brother or sister, you will be liable to judgment. And if you insult a brother or sister, you will be liable to the council. And if you say, 'You fool,' you will be liable to the hell of fire. So when you're offering your gift at the altar, if you remember that your brother or sister has something against you, leave your gift there before the altar and go. First be reconciled to your brother or sister, and then come and offer your gift." Jesus' message is that there are other ways to murder a person besides killing their body. A person's spirit and soul can also be murdered by a few cruel words, by physical and mental abuse, by being led into sin through unnecessary temptation, by suffering humiliation in a life of poverty, by losing hope in a time of imprisonment. There are many ways to murder a person. They don't all involve killing their body. Why did God make snakes before he made scribes? He needed the practice. Where can you find a good scribe? In the cemetery or in the morgue. Here's more of Jesus' higher expectations. "You have heard that it was said, 'You shall not commit adultery.' But I say to you that everyone who looks at a woman with lust has already committed adultery with her in his heart. If your right eye causes you to sin, tear it out and throw it away. It's better for you to lose one of your eyes than for your whole body to be thrown into hell. And if your right hand causes you to sin, cut it off and throw it away. It's better for you to lose one of your hands than for your whole body to go into hell." Sin is not only about action. Sin is about intent. And this is where Jesus parts ways from the Pharisees and the scribes. Sin is about what action you take, sure, but it's also about the contents of your heart. Because the contents of your heart, desire, when not tempered by love, can easily translate into action before you know it. leader in the church, disciples must be extra careful not to allow false desires to take root. Many ministries and lives have been destroyed when false desires that are not dispensed with lead to sinful actions. A disciple must empty unnecessary temptations from their life, even if doing so feels like plucking out an eye or chopping off a hand, because the salvation of many can depend on resisting that sin. What's the problem with scribe jokes? Apparently they're not funny, but scribes don't think they're funny. Everyone else doesn't think they're jokes. If you drop a scribe and a snake from the pinnacle of the temple roof, which one hits the ground first? Who cares? Jesus' next warning is not an easy one. It was also said, whoever divorces his wife, let him give her a certificate of divorce. But I say to you that anyone who divorces his wife, except on the ground of unchastity, causes her to commit adultery. And whoever marries a divorced woman commits adultery. Now, I'm not going to use this, as others have, as a simple condemnation of divorce. Divorce as a sin is a whole separate discussion. And this divorce scenario actually sounds a little too familiar. This sounds like John the Baptist's complaint against King Herod, who took Herodias, Herod's brother Philip's wife, as his own wife. I hear Jesus repeating John's cry that both King Herod and Herodias, his illegitimate wife, are committing adultery in their marriage. Okay, the last bad scribe joke. What's the difference between God and a scribe? God doesn't think he's a scribe. Here we come to Jesus' final warning. Again, you have heard that it was said to those of ancient times, you shall not swear falsely, but carry out the vows you have made to the Lord. But I say to you, do not swear at all, either by the heaven, for it is the throne of God, or by the earth, for it is his footstool, or by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great King. And do not swear by your head, for you cannot make one hair white or black. Let your word be yes, yes, or no, no. Anything more than this comes from the evil one. And this is the one that we always shorten to, thou shalt not swear. Swearing here has nothing to do with curse words or speaking profanity as we understand it. Swearing has to do with claiming that you're so sure that something is true or will happen that you invoke God's name to guarantee it. We swear to God that we will not taste food again until we've caught and killed the prophet Elijah. I swear to God I'll get to the top of that mountain next year. Then there are those things we don't want others to find out about. So we swear to God that we didn't do them so that others will believe our sincerity based on our invocation of God's name. Mom, I swear to God, I was in before midnight last night. Dad, I swear to God I didn't drive the car while you were away last weekend. Son, I swear to God I wasn't checking your internet browser history on your computer last night. Jesus' advice to his disciples in this case is simple. Just tell the truth. Always. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. An oath doesn't make your story any more true. Leave God out of it. And don't live your life according to what you have planned for tomorrow. Only God knows for sure what will happen from day to day. And as the old saying goes, life is what happens while you're making other plans. The postmodern world of today, just like the world of Jesus' day, needs a new kind of leader. Christianity needs leaders, not scribes or spin doctors. When I live the intent of God's commandments, I don't have to worry about interpreting the wording God used. When I lead by example, I don't need to worry about finding loopholes to defend my bad behavior. When I let Jesus into my heart and I agree to love my neighbor as myself, there's no room in my heart for false desires. And when they pop up, I'll have the strength to dispose of them quickly. Jesus is calling us to be leaders in his church, not to be scribes. May God grant us the wisdom to know the difference and the courage to be true disciples